Hello, friends.
Welcome to another edition of CineSundry. I'm your host, Gale Jones Carson.
And I'm your host, Markus Seaberry. And today we have a heist thriller full of action as we review Ambulance. Okay, now before we get into our review of Ambulance, we want to remind you all about our rating system. Okay, now that top score, that is our tour. That is for those films that are top shelf, best of the best, normally some of the best projects that we've seen all year.
And our next rating is middling, and that's what we consider middle of the road, just an average, run of the mill movie that you could take or leave.
Yeah. And that bottom rating is hack. That is for those terrible, dismal, abysmal, god awful projects that probably shouldn't have been made in the first place. And now that you know our ratings, let's get into the rundown. Okay, in Ambulance, we see two brothers. They are trying to rob a bank. Everything that could go wrong does go wrong. It goes very bad. They're on the run, and they decide to take an ambulance driver hostage, and the ambulance also has a patient inside. And Gil, what are your thoughts about the plot?
Well, I thought I thought the plot was pretty good. It was just interesting though that such the heist that they were doing was going to net so much money. It was difficult for me to understand or believe that they would do that in the broad, open daylight with people everywhere, traffic everywhere. But they did. They
Yeah.
basically did. And it went awry. But, you know, that was, two brothers. Brother got dragged into a good brother got dragged into a heist by the bad brother, and it just was an interesting plot all the way through. A lot of learning things for folks who watch this movie.
I agree. And all right, let's get into the script and acting. Okay, this script for me was something I struggled with. I mean, yes, acting fantastic, great, but I just found many plot points to be dumb and just very unbelievable. And also, and yes, I am nitpicking. This man referenced his own movies. The director Michael Bay referenced The Rock and Bad Boys. I was like, that's lazy. Come on, man. I just, I just didn't really love that. Gail, your thoughts on the script?
Well, I mean, who can better sell yourself and your work than you? I thought it was a good script. I thought it was an interesting script. It was a script that caused that was it was action packed from beginning to end. There were a couple of times I needed to get up and leave and come back, but I didn't because I didn't want to miss anything. There was a few times I truly was sitting on the edge of my seat. So I thought the script was good. It kept my attention the entire time. And the acting was good. The acting was really good.
Okay, and we're gonna get into the acting. First off, we got to talk about the guy who plays Will Sharp. This is Yahya Abdul Mateen II. He was Black Manta in Aquaman. He was Dr. Manhattan in the Watchmen series on HBO. He was in the latest Candyman film. He's got a slew of projects coming out. Uh, to say this guy's star is rising would be an understatement. He is like a comet out here, just reaching for the heavens. And I thought he did a good job with Will Sharp. His character is a military vet. He's kind of down on his luck. He's behind on his bills. He's struggling to make ends meet. He's having trouble getting people on the phone. We've all been there trying to speak to a real live person at some service. And he also has a wife and kids that he's trying to support as well. Like I said, I thought he did a really good job. I mean, This guy, it seemed like he came out of nowhere. He probably had some smaller films that I missed, but he is really kind of shown why he belongs in Hollywood. What did you think about his
Well,
performance?
I like him as an actor. He is a very good actor, and what he has shown in his various roles in different movies is he has a stretch. He can play different roles. You won't say he only does bad guy movies or he only does this kind of. He has a stretch. He can play all kinds of movies, but I thought he did exceptionally well in this movie. He was a good guy, different from his brother and his father. They showed that he cares so much about his family that he allowed his brother to pull him into something. He needed money for his wife's health bill. She had cancer. He needed over $200,000, and that love for his family and his wife caused him to do something he otherwise might not have done. I hate that his brother was able to get to him the way he did. He played on his emotions, but he acted extremely. His role was a good guy. He did, even though he was doing a bad act, his goodness and his heart showed throughout the movie from the beginning to the end.
I agree. I agree. You could kind of tell that he still had a moral system, even
Mm-hmm.
though he was doing illegal things.
Exactly. He
Um,
was doing illegal things, but he also did things that was helpful to save other people's lives in this movie, and tried to bring some sense to his brother, which he was not able to do.
yeah, you're right. And now let's talk about that brother, Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays Danny Sharp. Uh, Jake Gyllenhaal, another just superb veteran actor. He was Mysterio in Spider-Man: Far From Home. He's been in films like Nightcrawler, Prince of Persia, just several countless projects. And wow, his Danny Sharp is a career criminal. He's I
Well,
guess kind of shady on the morals, and to me, he kind of came off like a bit of a sociopath. Like in particular, there's a scene where the paramedic sprays him with a fire extinguisher and tries to run off. He pulls a gun on, like, "Where are you going?" And then as she's walking back, he just yells out, "This is cashmere!" And I was like, "Really, dude? You're thinking about your sweater in this high tense situation where all of you could be murdered at any minute?" I was like, "Oh, but your sweater."
but you could tell that he was really tied into material things when his brother Danny walked into the shop, and he had his brother Will walked into the shop, and he had all of these expensive vehicles there. So I knew then. So I took it as him being a very wealthy man, but it appears for him to do this particular heist that the wealth he had was not enough, because he was taking a very this was a major risk heist he was taking. He pulled his brother into it, but he played his role. I mean, my goodness, he played that role extremely well. When I first saw him, I didn't know he was this crazy, but when the more they were escaping or running away from the police, the more stress he was under, then you saw this crazy side of him, this dangerous side of him, a side of him that I didn't know was there when the movie first started. I knew he was dealing with some dangerous characters, but I didn't know he was on the same level crazy as they were, and he was.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And all right, getting to that next person, our paramedic, Isa Gonzalez. She plays Cam Thompson, and I found it interesting the way her character is kind of jaded and how when she's in the moment and saving lives, she's focused and caring and, wants to make sure you're okay. But it's like as soon as she sent them into the hospital, it's like she turned the switch off and she quit caring. And it was almost like she doesn't really make true connections with people.
Well, I thought that she played the role very well. I like her. I've seen her in numerous movies, and every time I've seen her, she's done a really good job. But in this particular role, they showed her as very competent as a professional, very competent doing her job. but she made very bad decisions under stressful situations. The time when she decided to try to run away and leave her patient, knowing she wasn't going to get far, at least she didn't think about it. Then the time when the police officer who was, shot or almost about to die, he found this gun. She tells him, it's dangerous. There's too many police officers, too many people around. And then she takes the gun and does what she tells him not to do and shoots the wrong person. So maybe I would act like her, maybe not make good decisions under high pressure situations, but she just made dumb decisions. She made good decisions regarding her work. But when it came to other situations, she just did not make wise decisions. She endangered her patients. She endangered herself with the decisions that she made under pressure.
Yeah, she was a little reckless. Yeah, it was interesting how she was by the book and professional in these areas, but then in those areas that you just talked about, she was just reckless. It was like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Exactly. It was crazy to me how she went from extreme from making wise decisions, because really, when she did the surgery, she didn't have a lot of confidence in herself, but she knew to call the right people and to get the help she needed to help her patient. But then she makes another decision that puts her patient in jeopardy of getting killed. So it was strange. But overall, I have to say she acted really well.
Definitely,
She's a good actress.
I agree. And next we have Garrett Dillahunt. This is one of my favorite character actors. He plays Captain Monroe. He negotiates with the Sharp brothers. He's kind of your typical grizzled police veteran character. He's pretty tough, and I guess kind of his defining characteristic is this giant bulldog that he has traveled with him in his police car. What are your thoughts on the actor who played Captain Monroe?
Well, he looks totally different in the movie than he does on this picture right here. So I thought the makeup and the work on him was very good. But what he did display in his role is what I have found typical in many police roles or law enforcement roles. When another agency comes in, a higher level agency like the FBI, some of these other agencies, they get very territorial, and they should supposedly move out the way and let the new higher level take control. But because he got caught up in the territory aspect of it, he made some unwise decisions. The FBI agent was trying to guide him because he knew the characters. He knew the two brothers. He knew how they thought. And then when he learned that he knew them, then he took a different perspective on how he was dealing with him. But he still didn't allow that to last too long, because he continued to make bad decisions that caused a lot of police officers to get hurt, that caused a lot of police damage to police vehicles and other vehicles. So, and I tend to see that in a lot of movies when one level of law enforcement comes in that's higher, the lower level gets very offended, and sometimes they make bad decisions as a consequence, and that's what happened in this movie.
I agree. And let's talk about that FBI agent, Keir O'Donnell. He played FBI agent Anson Clark. He's kind of an efficient, no nonsense, by the books guy. And it's funny because when you first see him in the movie, before he gets the text about this crazy incident, he's in counseling with his boyfriend or husband, and it seems like his very dangerous and demanding job is putting a strain on their relationship. So you kind of see that he's even kind of sacrificing some of his happiness to be good at this job.
Well, yeah, even during the session with the therapist, he gets a text message that says it's a major heist, and he just basically runs out and doesn't really say why he's leaving. He doesn't say, I have to leave, this is going on, to show that he didn't have, I mean, he cared about the relationship, but not to the level that his partner cared about it. And that's probably why they were in counseling. But, also his role as an FBI agent, as a higher level authority or law enforcement, he wasn't in my mind, forceful enough. He just wasn't forceful enough, because I think that there's some, he should have laid down the law to the other guy, to the other officer, and said, and just said, look, we taking over. This is it, because the other guy was making bad decisions because of his, because of who he thought he was or his level of experience, but he was a lower level of law enforcement.
Yeah, because I mean, he's the FBI guy, and he was almost too dignified and too respectful. Like, you kind of just wanted him to just, cut loose and be like, "Hey, I'm your supervisor.
Exactly.
This is what we're doing."
But Captain Monroe, he was the man on the scene from beginning to end. Even though Agent Clark showed up on the scene, he did give him some valuable advice on some things. And Captain Monroe listened for a minute, but then he went back to himself. I'm the man in control. I know how to do this. I'm the this. I'm the that. I got all this experience. I know what I'm doing. But consequently, there was a lot of damage, a lot of folks hurt, probably killed, as a result of his decision making.
I agree. Well, all right. Now we're going to talk about the director's technique. Of course, the director of this film is Michael Bay. You know him. He's the big action guy. He did the first two Bad Boys movies. He did several of the Transformers movies. And I think he produced the ones that he didn't direct. He produced the last two Ninja Turtles films. He directed Pain and Gain with The Rock. I mean, he's the action guy. He's a big action guy. And I respect that. This is, to use the cliche that several men use when they're in relationships, perhaps it's not him, it's me. Because I remember when I was younger and I went to a party right after I saw Transformers, his first Transformers, and I was excited. And all my friends were like, yeah, but it's Michael Bay, so the science won't make any sense. I guess that was a reference to Armageddon, which was visually exciting, but scientifically very inaccurate. And 15 years later, I've become my friends. I was just like, yes, it looks good. Yes, on one level, I like the explosions. They're fun. It is visually stunning. It is a visual thrill ride. But I was just like, but all of this is dumb. None of this makes sense to me. Like, how could any of this happen this way? So, on one hand, yes, explosions are cool. I'm a guy. I've been watching explosions and stuff since, I don't know, watching the Dukes of Hazzard and Knight Rider as a little kid in the 18. But it is very much flash and very, very short on substance to me.
Okay, so I thought the script was good. Like I said, it kept my attention from beginning to end. It was action packed from beginning to end. I thought the acting was good. I think what he did was, instead of making this a typical bank robbery situation, he did a few things differently. He asked, do the bank robbers, you can say, well, do the bank robbers just storm in and tell everybody to get on the ground? That didn't happen in this one. He wanted it to be a different scene. Also, they didn't come in and tell everyone to shut up and nobody be a hero today. What we saw about the bank robbery, which was different than other bank robberies, is they were already on the floor. They were already, had guns on them and everything. When the police officer came in to try to get to know the bank teller or take her on a date, all of that was behind us. We didn't have to see all of that typical.
Get on the floor. Nobody move. Nobody be a hero.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't have to see all of that. Don't be a hero today. If you do, all that. We saw none of that. They were already down. They took the time to show this police officer trying to make a date with one of the tellers, which I had a serious problem with, for you getting off to all this crime out here in the street, in the real world, and even on TV too. But you go back to this scene, to the bank, to try to meet a female. Now, I don't know if that really happens, but I hope it doesn't happen. So I don't know if that was real. But that scene, the way that bank robbery the way that heist happened. It's different than any other heist I've seen.
That was unique, and like I said, I've never been a cop, but you never know when you got to be wingman. Like I said, even in real life, I've had to be wingman when a friend of mine wanted to talk to a woman that was at the drive-through window. So it's like,
Come on,
sometimes you got to break
Marcus, the drive-through is a little bit different.
I know, but I'm just saying my whole point is it's like a dude thing. It's like sometimes you like, hey man, talk to her or your friend, like, hey, I want to talk to her, but make this happen for me. Now,
but think about it, Marcus.
I would probably, yes, I admit if I was a cop, I would be like, hey guys, let's protect the city.
Yeah,
maybe on the
city. That's right, Marcus. Protect the city. But think about this too, Marcus. Throughout the whole movie, his partner, the one who encouraged him to do that and took him back, he felt bad the whole time because he felt had he not done that, his partner would not have gotten almost killed. Yeah. Also, he almost got killed himself. Even one of the other police officers, when they learned, or one of the law enforcement agent officers, they made a crack at him. I understand this was your fault. Because had they not done that, I mean, robbing a bank is bad. But is robbing a bank worth all the deaths and all the crashes and all the damage, all the manpower they brought? Was that a robbery really worth all of that? Is that really what happens when a robbery takes place? Now, that kind of caused me to think some, why would they put so much manpower, all those officers, on some people just robbing a bank? They weren't violent criminals. As a matter of fact, they went out the way to not hurt anyone, including.
I think he was trying to save face because there was references to like other cops were like, "How did y'all let this happen right by the police station?" I assume it happened in the vicinity of the police station, and it became a pride thing. It was like, "Oh, we can't let this happen right near our precinct, so let's show these cops who we are and that the cops aren't to be messed with." It began to, I guess, the common expression, kind of a bit of a macho contest. Like, oh, you can't do this in front of the precinct. We'll show you. But interesting, all the same. And let's get into sentiment and rating. All right, Gale. Let me know.
Marcus. Marcus, I enjoyed the movie. I thought the script was good. I thought the acting was good. I enjoyed the actors who were selected to play these roles. So I gave it an auteur.
All right, here it goes. I did enjoy the actors. And that's pretty much all I enjoyed. I thought this movie was just so absurd and silly. There were just so many things I was like, well, no, this isn't how that happens. That isn't how any of this works. Like, Michael Bay, do you read anything about science or any books on the world? Like, are you just like looking at expensive cameras on Amazon and saying, hey, I want to make that. Now my explosions will be even bigger. That's how it felt. And like, I was trying to get his film a chance. But the point where the officer's spleen ruptured and they held it together with a giant hair clip from the woman paramedic, that was my point. That's the point where, like, if I was on a trolley or something, I would have had to pull the little lever, like, all right, this is my stop. I'm getting off here. That is the point where they lost me. And again, it's me. Because Michael Bay is the same.
Marcus, remember now, they didn't have many choices. They had run out of all kind of medical supplies by the time they had to work on the man's spleen.
I hear you, but like the giant hair clip, I was just,
You don't think that was ingenious?
Too much for me. too much for me. Again, not convince me. I am not the same person or same movie watcher that I was in 95 when Bad Boys 1 came out, which I still love, or even in 2007 when the first Transformers came out.
I love Transformers, Marcus. I love every last one of them.
I love some of them. Some of them I love, some of them I hate, some of them I'm indifferent on. But it's just a big testosterone thrill ride with like no substance or like junk food with no nutrients. It just did
Well,
not do it for me.
Marcus. Okay, it has several meaningful things in there. It showed good brother, bad brother. It showed the love between two brothers. It showed that even with a bad father, one went bad, one did not. So they all didn't have to follow in their bad a father's footsteps. It showed a man's love for his wife, that his brother was able to manipulate him to do a heist that he wouldn't do just to pay her doctor bill. It showed this paramedic, her drive for her profession, how good she. I mean, there was a lot of good storylines in there, Marcus.
Honestly, I hear you, but overall, it was just too much ridiculousness and illogical moments, and that's why I had to give this one a hack.
Oh my God,
Marcus!
Marcus.
I'm sorry. Like I said, it's me. I've changed because Michael Bay clearly hasn't changed and will probably never change.
No, he's giving his followers what they enjoy, Marcus.
You're right. You know, a lot
And
of my friends.
I'm one of those, Marcus. I love his movies.
I've been accused of being no fun. Some people have even questioned my sense of humor. Perhaps they're right. Like I said, it's me. Cause Michael Bay is who he is. And what I loved in 95 is not what I love in 2022. And like I said, once again, the beauty of America and the beauty of this show is we can have wildly differing opinions.
Exactly.
We'll come together and respect each other.
Exactly.
Because I respect your opinion.
We can agree to disagree. I agree with you on
but
that.
I have no love for this film.
Okay, Marcus.
It's the hack rating that you see on the screen.
Well, how much money do you think that it'll make overall? How much?
Nothing came out, so it'll probably make like 50 to 60. I'm gonna guess because even on my Facebook feed, people are like, "Yes, wall to wall action." So like, this is the most dude-ish film to come out this week. Like this is like for all the dudes and alpha males in your life. Like, if you are one of them, turn your brain off. I just want popcorn and a thrill ride. You will love this. Like I said, it's me. As I've gotten older, I want different things from films. My tastes have changed. Maybe I'm not as fun as I used to be. It happens. And I'm fine with that. But look, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of CineSundry. I've been your host, Markus Seaberry.
And I'm Gale Jones, your host as well. Thank you for viewing with us today.
Yes, and remember, guys, like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, and remember, take some time and treat yourself to a movie. See you next time.